free will is a subject that it's like a lens through which you can examine almost all the different aspects of theology. It's like a ray of light that cuts through all major theological doctrines, everything from the doctrine of sin, the doctrine of grace, the doctrine of God, doctrine of humans, and so on and so on. It's not just a theoretical issue, but it's an issue that's actually part of the ecumenical debate between different denominations and churches. What you think about free will then constrains the way you look at different parts of the doctrine and the way that theology works. When you scratch the surface of a disagreement about sin or grace or the doctrine of God, you usually find assumptions that have to do with free will and the nature of free will. It's not just theologically important, but it's also important for our self-image as human beings. What we end up thinking about free will through a process of theology and philosophy and also doing science, it's going to have an impact on our self-image, the way that we see ourselves and the way that we see ourselves as part of the world. Free will has been a topic that has been debated for thousands of years. But in the 1960s and in the 1970s, there was an extraordinary influx of new work on free will. So things have changed quite a lot since 19th century or the ancient Greeks or the medieval debates. One of the greatest problems in the so-called free will debate is that people define free will in different ways. One way to make these distinctions is to say that at least we have at least three notions of free will at play. I tend to call them free will light and free will super plus and normal free will. So on the one hand, there's free will light, and free will light is just the human ability to act on the basis of their beliefs and their intentions and their values. So an action is free if it's a product of a person's intentions, values, and beliefs. That's free will light. Then there's free will normal. Free will normal is, let's put that in, but then on top of that, we want the person to have a choice in what the person is doing. So at the moment of action, there is the possibility of not committing the action or committing some other action. So this is known as the power to do otherwise. That's kind of free will normal. Then finally there's the free will super plus, which is the gold standard. So you combine these two things. First of all, that you act on the basis of your mental states, your intentions, beliefs, values. You have a choice, but you add a certain component. And the component you add is that you have the power to shape your own values and beliefs and your moral character in the long run. So free will, in a way, if you want to put it in a bit of a provocative way, is to say is the pinnacle of agency.